Hi, and welcome to the art department. I'm not always here at this desk. Usually I'm in the shop, but I just got this package in the mail, and it was to be a belated Christmas present. And this is from Anthony C, as he's now going by, but Anthony Chimalia. It's a nice box, Chester Spier preview, shooting plane tote turner, and a block plane squirrel tail, both in this box. I like the logo a lot. You remember when I was talking about Veritas, I didn't really care for their boxes, but this label's nice. I'm going to be a little picky, and they could have squared it up a little better, the box, but that doesn't matter. It's very nice. Made from SLS polymer. Let's open it up and see what's inside. It's as much a surprise to me as it is to you. Again, nice box, worth saving. Let's see what's in here. There's a couple of things. A little wheel, parts, a little parts bag, and a right-handed, it says R there, so I'm assuming this is a right-handed changer for a jack plane or it could be a number 6. We'll have to try that out. We'll go through that. But what it does, and I've talked to Anthony, so I know that this will take your tote on your plane and it will pivot it over to the side, which makes it easier if you're using it as a shooting plane to hold on to the handle rather than it being down here where it's out of the way. This looks like a really nifty invention. We'll have to try it out and see how it works. The other thing is this squirrel tail for a block plane. And again, we have to see how that works. It looks like that might fit there, but I don't know. We have to go through it. We'll have to see. We'll get out the planes and try them out, and we'll see how this is. Thanks, Anthony. Hey, welcome now to the shop. We're back out at the shop, and I've been playing around with these two things that I got from Woodyah. And here's the box that the parts came in. Woodya. And there's a nice little blurb here. Why choose us? Made from SLS polymer. A laser selectively sinters the particles of a polymer powder, fusing them together and building a part layer by layer. Strong and tough material made from thermoplastic material. They're ductile and impact resistant in many applications. Thermoplastics have a longer service life compared to alternative materials. Thank you for your support, Woodya. Anthony C. with a thank you there, and I have to thank him for sending me these. Now, the block plane squirrel tail on the front here there seems to be two choices. One is a marshmallow head, and the other one is traditional. Now, the one that he sent me is the traditional one, and it's round, and you can see that it sort of matches this one on this 9 3/4 that I had. Now, the other one, the marshmallow head, I believe has more of a flat head here, and it's supposed to be better for people who have arthritis and issues with holding their plane. It's purported to be very useful for people who have limited use of their hands, and so I think that's a great thing in and of itself. Now, Stanley made several block planes with the number 9, 9 1/4, 9 3/4, so on and so forth, a 9 1/2. And in this book here, it describes these different block planes that they made, and all of them have little different qualities. Some have adjustable throats, some not. And here you can see that I have the 9 3/4 with the original squirrel tail, which is removable. And the way this was added on is there's a screw that goes in the back this way. But this is not designed for this plane. This is designed for any of the 9 9 3/4, 9.5, I believe, block planes that have this adjustment for the depth adjustment with the rod in an upright fashion, and this adjuster on it. The way it attaches, it goes in like a fork, and then you add this secondary screw underneath here to tighten it down, and it holds very well. But as I say, I did not have a Stanley. I was surprised to find that that was one of the block planes that I did not have. Sizes that have that upright rod. So I looked around in my other planes, because I have a lot of block planes, and I had this old Union. And I found that it actually works very well on the Union block plane. I just had to modify that fork, because the fork, the opening in the fork is a little tight, and the Union is a little wider there. So I just had to do a little bit of shaving on the inside of it, and otherwise it works well. And I imagine that on the 9.5s, it's going to work equally well. So here you see the way this system works is, and of course it's reverse threaded, because this is, so to tighten it you go counterclockwise, and to loosen it you do clockwise. And you can see that this basically, here you can see where I had to trim a little bit off of here in order to fit it around these two little bevels here. Now this is a Union, but this is made for a number 9. So this little trim area I wouldn't have had to have done for the number 9. The polymer finish on it is nice, because it has a certain coarseness to it that feels good in the hand. The shape is good, but it also has this, because I did a video on some front knobs and totes replacements with different types of 3D printing materials. This one feels good. It seats itself well. It is not black all the way through and through, so I don't know if it's been painted, but when I carved out that little portion so that it fit this plane, I discovered that the inside of it is white. So I'm not sure how they're dealing with making it black, but I kind of wish that they had made that little knurled nut that holds it in also black, so it would sort of disappear a little bit. I may paint it later, but it really is a sturdy handle. It holds on nice and tight. This was very easy to put on. You had to take off a few things here and slide the lateral adjuster over to get the this top nut off, and then put that other one on. Once I got that on and seated, it doesn't turn. It fits it nice and snug on each side of the cheeks. So all really good things. So I've got this attached to the plane, and I have to say there's a little bit of flex in this. Now what we want to see, and we'll set this down, want to see how much flex this has in it. So we'll clamp it in here. And that flex is inherent to this piece here. There's a flex here. I don't think it's going to break or anything, but there's a mild amount of flex right in this part here. So that's interesting. This is the flex that I'm talking about, is when you have it on there and you push down. But if you're pushing forward, it doesn't seem to have much difference. But this is some pine end grain that we're cutting here, and this is a nice, it has a nice feeling holding on to that. Even if I'm putting my main push here, normally this plane would be worked like this, holding it this way, but it allows for you to get a little further back from the plane and use it quite cleanly this way. If you're chamfering, you're not forcing that down very much. And you don't really want to put a lot of force down here. You really want it more in the middle. But it's comfortable having it there. You see, let me turn it sideways and we'll do some long grain here and see how that does. Now, I wouldn't hold on to just this. This feels awkward to me a little bit. But in combination, resting my palm there and using it, that's quite comfortable. So, and certainly for chamfering, actually for chamfering, I might just hold on to it like this, and it works very well. I don't think it can take the kind of force that a cast iron framework here can do, but that works very well, sort of holding it like that. And you know, all of these attachments and things, they're all about how you hold the plane and how you exert force. If a tote is angled far down, you're pushing down or you're pushing across, it does make a difference in your planing. So this is fun and it's nice. It's a nice design. Little bit of movement this way, but maybe that's because it's also not on the plane that it was prescribed and designed for. I think that this is a great idea. This is a great use for 3D printing, and if you wanted an original squirrel tail attachment for some of these planes, it can really run into money, and this is nowhere near that price, and it satisfies that need. I think it's a great thing, and I appreciate Anthony sending it to me. Now, on to the other attachment that came in the box, which is a tool that you can attach to a regular plane to turn the angle of the tote sideways so you can use it as a shooting plane. If you look at a regular plane like this, you see that the tote or handle is straight up and down. And if you were to use it in a shoot board, you want to hold up here, and it's uncomfortable. So really, you want it up here. On the 51 Stanley, which is the shoot board plane, you can see that the iron is over here. And if you were to turn it sideways, you can see that this is angled sufficiently to allow you to turn it sideways and use it this direction. So what he's done is he's invented a piece that will fit onto the regular ones and turn that handle over. And let me show it to you. So this is my shoot board that I made for the 51 Stanley, and you can see how it fits in this groove and goes back and forth. And the iron is, as I said before, on this side here. So when it's in the board and you want to square up the end of another board, you can put your plane in there, put this against the stop, and cut away, giving you a perfectly square to this space corner or edge. If you wanted to, you could also put it along the side like this and take off the long part here to straighten it out. So it's a useful tool, and I have an attachment for a 45 as well. But so here's the plane, and we want to be able to use in its stead a regular plane, because these are very expensive and hard to find. So this, if I were to turn it sideways, the handle is here and not comfortable to use this way. So the tendency is to hold it up here like this. So Anthony has come up with an invention that'll change all of that and allow people to convert these planes over to being able to be used as a shooting plane. Let me show you. The first thing that you have to do is to remove all of this here and take this tote or handle off so that you expose the underneath part, the base, to attach Anthony's invention, his piece there. We want to apply this piece, and hopefully you can see it here. This is the piece that he made, and it has a hole here with a screw. You use the same screw that you removed from the tote, and you put it in there to hold the front of the bottom on. And then here is the part that had this handle here, and he supplies you with a bolt that goes into there. He also supplies you with a bolt that comes down, because you're replacing this part here that would normally be on the plane this way, or this way rather. So his piece here has two slots, here and here, and in those slots are two nuts that match the rod that he gives you for the top here, and matches the thread of the bolt that he gives you here. Now, it's important when you get this to make sure that you have those two nuts to fit in there, and that you don't drop them out not realizing that they're already in there. I had a little bit of a mess up where I didn't see those nuts, and I'm not sure I got them, but I happen to have a couple in the shop so that fit perfectly, so that's fine. But here, let me bring this closer and show you what this does. First of all, now you can see that if I put this in the chute board, you see where the handle is upright like this, whereas it was this way. So what he's done is been able to turn it this way, and now you can use the plane on the chute board and get the right force going to do the cut. Let me show you this a little closer, see if I can bring it in here, and so you can see this piece that I've applied. And this is the piece and how it fits onto the plane, and it bolts, as I said, here and here. Now, what I found, it was a lot easier to apply the tote to this piece first and then apply it to the plane, and that made it a lot easier. Then you could tighten everything up, but you can see the shape of it and what it does, and it's really neat. I think it really does a great job. There you can see the two nuts inserted in there. So that's holding that to that, and this one's going through to this one. Then there's one going in here and one going in here. And it's important, because Stanley had its own threads, it's important that you use the proper hardware to fit it to the plane. But here's what it does, and it turns that handle sideways. It's a great thing. Now, I want to talk one little bit about the difference between this and the 51. You see, it has the same angle on the iron as a normal Bailey, the same upward angle. But the difference in them is that on the 51, the blade is skewed, whereas this blade goes straight across. This one, you see, is skewed. So when you're using it on the chute board and going across, you're cutting on a skewed angle, which really helps because it pushes down on the wood as it goes and basically slices it. The same way if you took a tomato and you tried to cut it straight down versus doing this on an angle, the slicing action makes it easier to cut through. So you don't get that with a straight, these are number 6s that I used. And I think it'll also go to you could do it to a smaller plane, but these fit nicely in the chute board and everything. And so you don't have to do much accommodating for it. I'll turn it this way so you can see that it seats itself right the same way. But instead of the 51, when you put a board there, this iron is going perpendicular straight up to this surface. Now, if you were to build a slanted chute board, that would solve that issue, and then these would be on an angle. But I'll tell you what, this little attachment here what's brilliant about it is the cost of it is so low that you can build yourself a shoot board, use one of your old Stanley planes, and really have a great tool for shooting the ends of boards and things square. So I really like this invention and have to hand it to Anthony. I think he's solved a big problem that a lot of people have had with these shooting planes. Now, that being said, you have to make sure that this surface here is square to this side. These are intentionally designed that way, the 51, and it's very specific for the use of this plane. If it's not square, then you're not going to get necessarily a square cut on this. It would be beveled out or beveled in. So that's one thing you have to be cautious about, but a little preparation and possibly some sanding on the side, you can get it just perfect where it'll work fine. So that's another invention for Anthony that is really, I think, very, very useful. A great idea. I have to hand it to him. So, wow. Great additions to the shop. This is a beautiful thing, and I think it'll be really useful to a lot of people. And it's nice and rigid and strong. It just really holds the handle well. So when you're ready to be using this on a shoot board, there's no wobble at all. It's really great. This should have been invented years ago. Now, keep in mind you do need an Allen wrench for one of the bolts that goes into the plane to snug it up. But other than that, there's no fancy tools or anything to convert it at all. Keep in mind it's a squaring of the side of the plane. And the squirrel tail is a great addition, and I think it's terrific. Now I'm going to have to go find myself a number 9.5 or something and attach it to that. I'm sorry I didn't have that plane so that I could really show this. It may be foolproof on that and not have any problems. There's no wobble on this. The only thing is that there's a little bit of torsion here, but I think that if I didn't have the union name in there, that might be what's causing it and not the piece itself, although there was a little bit of flex. Unimportant. It's a great addition as well, and I think it looks really, really nice on a plane to have that squirrel tail. Really nice. So let me send out my thanks to Anthony C. and Woodya for sending me these, and I think it's great, and I think it's going to be a really successful company with these products that they're making, because they're really innovative, and that's exciting, because there hasn't been a lot of new things going on, except for maybe by a few companies, but these work with your old tools and bring them up into this next century. So, gotta hand it to you. Until next time, I hope you all enjoyed this. I always enjoy having you in the shop, and until we see each other again, take care of yourselves and be nice to others. Talk to you later. Bye.